taking a traditional control of the center with the pawn, while black plays an unconventional n6, moving the knight to the edge of the board early. This move is highly unusual in standard play as it doesn't immediately contest the center, but black seems to be aiming for a hypermodern strategy, where control of the center is delayed in favor of piece development. White follows up by reinforcing the center with a second pawn, claiming more space with e4. Black continues with b6, likely preparing to fianchetto the light-squared bishop and control the long diagonal from b7. White develops with the knight, solidifying control of key squares in the center and preparing to castle. Black then plays bb7, reinforcing control of the diagonal and preparing for potential pressure on White's central pawns. White takes the opportunity to capture the bishop on a6, which removes Black's powerful light-squared bishop. Black recaptures with the bishop, activating it on an open diagonal, but now Black's pawn structure on the queen side is a bit exposed. White presses further in the center with the pawn advance, gaining space and locking Black's queenside pieces. Black responds by fianchettoing the dark-squared bishop, placing it on the long diagonal to exert pressure on White's center. White begins focusing on piece development and quickly places the knight on an active square, ready to jump to key squares on the queenside. Black counters by developing the knight and bishop in such a way that exerts pressure on White's center, while also preparing to challenge White's space advantage on the queenside. White's queen is developed early, taking control of key squares and pressuring Black's setup. A tactical skirmish breaks out when White trades queens, simplifying the position, but leaving Black with slightly better coordination between their remaining pieces. White advances the central pawn further, aiming to create threats on both sides of the board. Black places a rook on the open file, building pressure on White's position. White responds by shifting the rooks, trying to counter Black's pressure, but Black's pieces are well coordinated and begin to outmaneuver White's defenses. As the game progresses, White sacrifices material in an attempt to create an attack, but Black's king's safety and central control prove to be decisive. Black's rooks and knight work harmoniously, pinning down White's pieces and creating multiple threats. White's defenses crumble under the pressure, and after a key tactical sequence involving a rook sacrifice, Black's superior piece activity leads to a winning endgame. White is unable to recover from the material deficit, and Black forces resignation after maneuvering their pieces into dominating positions. In the end, Black's unusual opening play and willingness to sacrifice traditional central control led to a dynamic and tactical middle game, where Black was able to outmaneuver White and claim victory. Despite White's aggressive play in the early stages, Black's superior piece coordination and control of key squares gave them the upper hand in the critical moments of the game.